This was back before Google. Web pages were, for the most part, still very basic HTML with JavaScript. Hardly anyone used CSS. Only discussion boards and some banking sites had anything approaching mature front-end, back-end combinations, etc. Early net, real, deep web story, not just one about illicit activities online. I was browsing random blogs, GeoCities sites, and the like, just going from link to link. Eventually I came upon an odd page. It appeared to be random thoughts from different people, but for the time, it was very well designed. The messages seemed to be cryptic in nature, like several people trying to pass secret notes. I started through the source, and hidden in the comments of a JavaScript were various IP addresses. I gathered all of the IPs in a text file and began enumerating. Some were routers with banner messages I could telnet to, almost all at universities. Warning: this is a secure system at University of blah blah. The default Cisco credentials from back in the day worked on most of them, but I didn't poke around. A few of the IPs were web servers with little to nothing on them, mostly Apache on Linux or some BSD, at least one IIS server I can recall. I finally came upon a web server with a huge directory of HTML files and TIFF images, with a few smaller subdirectories containing the same. NS lookup returned no reverse records for the IP. A visual route traced it as far as Colorado. The HTML files appeared to be records a psychologist or similar mental health professional would keep. The images were of faxes, apparently of both military and medical nature. As I browsed from a subdirectory back to the parent, at the top was a new HTML file named something like 1. Hello there. HTML. The time stamp was from right that minute. I opened it, and in plain text was the message, "We see you." No quotes, all lowercase. About 15 seconds later the server dropped. It was my third time on the deep web and I was just looking around at sites. I found this one guy's home page and on the sidebar, I saw a link that said, "For journalists and people new to the deep web." I clicked on it hoping that it was interesting and helpful information. A new page opened and a picture started to load. Thank God for my slow internet because all that loaded was the head of an old Asian man with blood on his chin. I quickly closed the tab before the rest of the image loaded. To this day I wonder what the whole picture was, but at the same time am thankful I didn't see it. 14 years ago, as a freshman at a major Texan university, the university network was somewhat more fast and loose in terms of being able to access other people's computers, as you might imagine. Anyway, at one point I viewed a video of a kid with some kind of condition being torn apart by wild donkeys while Middle Eastern looking men masturbated. I saw it only briefly and left the room. Beyond creepy. Fast forward 4 years, I've flunked out of college and am enlisted in the Navy. I mentioned the incident to a guy in my work center. I also stated that I was hammered at the time and now wonder if I had a bad dream or some shit. Coworker says, "I've heard of this," and digs this column up. So, apparently, it really is out there somewhere. I haven't gone out looking for it, and I don't read people referring to it like it is notorious, and believe me, I think it would be, but man, in 2000 it had already been digitized at some point and put out there.